We begin after previous events in the world of Azeroth, where Lady Sylvanas Windrunner, then War Chief or leader of the Horde, was challenged to Mak'Gra, a duel, by High Overlord Varric Sarfang, then leader of Orgrimmar, and she killed him using mysterious powers from the Shadowlands, the world of the dead. Abandoning the Horde afterward, she travels to the Ice-Crowned Citadel in Northrend, where she defeats Bolvar Fordragon, who replaced Arthas Menethil as Lich King to keep the undead scourge contained before she destroys the Helm of Domination, infused with the power of domination which controls the scourge, shattering the barrier between Azeroth and the Shadowlands. These events lead to the revelation that Sylvanas has made a deal with Zovaal, or the Jailer, ruler of the Maw, a wasteland within the Shadowlands where evil souls are imprisoned and tortured. Azerothian leaders Thrall, Bane Bloodhoof, Jaina Proudmoore, and Anduin Wrynn are kidnapped by Sylvanas and imprisoned in Torghast, the maze-like Tower of the Damned within the Maw. The champion is tasked with finding a way to enter the Shadowlands by using the broken Helm of Domination as a portal, and she succeeds, but finds herself within the Maw facing the Jailer's endless armies. Upon locating a Waystone, or teleporter, the champion escapes, and is dubbed the Maw Walker for her unheard-of ability to travel back from the Maw to Oribos, the capital city of the Shadowlands, and home of the Arbiter, the Judger of Souls, who has mysteriously gone dormant, causing all souls to be sent straight into the Maw, bypassing the system of judgment. In order to discover the cause of the disruption, stewards of the Arbiter send the champion to the other four main realms of the Shadowlands: the Angelic Bastion, the Undead Maldraxxus, the Forested Ardenweald, and the Vampiric Revendreth, with her aiding the denizens of each zone along the way. Each realm is short on anima, the energy of souls, due to them all going into the Maw, causing droughts and famines everywhere. It's in Revendreth where the champion learns that the leader there, Sire Denathrius, has been secretly aligned with the Maw, feeding reservoirs of anima into it. The champion teams up with Revendrethian rebels to defeat Denathrius and put an end to his regime, while Thrall, Bane, and Jaina are recovered from Torghast with Bolvar's assistance, but Anduin is still unable to be located. Growing short on time and patience upon losing Denathrius as a pawn, the Jailer reforges Anduin's legendary sword, Charlemagne, into Kingsmorn, a Mornblade, embedding the crystallized soul of Arthas in it as the source of domination magic to force Anduin to become an unwilling agent of the Maw. The Jailer's next objective is discovered to be the Covenant Sigils, or objects of power, each representing one of the 5 main Shadowland realms, held by the Eternal Ones, or rulers of each realm, after the Jailer sends Anduin to attack the Archon, ruler of Bastion, and claims her sigil. At the same time, the Jailer targets the hidden realm of Korthia, where it's believed the missing Maldraxxi leader, Primus, hid his sigil, and changed the landscape to Torghast so that his minions can begin their search. During an invasion of Ardenweald, the Jailer uses Anduin again to claim the sigil of the Winter Queen, ruler of that realm. During the ordeal, Tyrande Whisperwind appears and attacks Sylvanas for her burning down of Teldrassil, the World Tree. As Tyrande goes in for the kill, her powers as Elun's Night Warrior fade away, allowing Sylvanas to escape, but not before sowing doubt in Sylvanas' mind about trusting the Jailer, as he didn't notify her of the death of Nathanos Blightcaller, her champion and bodyguard, who Tyrande killed before entering the Shadowlands. With Revendreth's sigil being handed over earlier by Denathrius, and the Maldraxxi sigil taken from the recently discovered Primus in Torghast, the Jailer now possesses 4 of the 5 sigils, and so prepares to attack Oribos to claim the dormant Arbiter sigil, the final key. The champion bands together with Jaina, Thrall, and Bolvar to stop the invasion by breaching the Jailer's personal fortress, the Sanctum of Domination. However, they fail to stop the Jailer from acquiring the Arbiter sigil and transforming himself into an armored behemoth. His plan in full motion, the Jailer reveals his true goal of creating his own reality where all serve him, going against Sylvanas' desire to merely break the current world cycle of death, which she believes to be unfair. Recalling Arthas' previous demand for her to serve during the Third War, Sylvanas cuts ties with the Jailer, denouncing any further servitude. As punishment, under the guise of reward for her aid in his cause, the Jailer restores Sylvanas' soul to her, which was originally taken by Arthas' Mornblade, Frostmourne. This causes her to lose consciousness at the mercy of Azeroth's leaders, while the Jailer and Anduin escape. In order to stop the Jailer from achieving his goal, Azeroth's forces open a gateway to the mystical realm of Zereth Mortis, home to the First Ones, creators of all reality, including the Shadowlands. The Sepulchre of the First Ones, located on a floating island in eastern Zereth Mortis, is where the Jailer will be able to forge a new universe to his own liking. To counter his plans, the champion works with the Enlightened faction and the native Automa machines to halt the Jailer's advance into the Sepulchre. However, he ultimately gains access. Though hesitant, Bane, Jaina, and Thrall accept the aid and insight from a newly recovered Sylvanas, who has come to terms with the return of her original soul and accepts responsibility, along with any future penalty, for her past actions. With her help, the champion discovers a waystone that opens a doorway into the Sepulchre, where the Jailer has already begun his redesign of the universe. The champion battles her way through the Sepulchre, taking down Automa and other creatures who have sworn allegiance to the Jailer. Eventually, Anduin is sent to annihilate her, but is able to free himself from the Jailer's domination control after the spirits of Charlemagne's previous wielders, his father, Varian, along with Varrock, appear and remind him of the legacy of valor and honor that has been passed down to him through the sword. Free of the jailer's influence after splitting the sword back into its two original halves, Shalator and Elamain, the process also causes the small remnant of Arthas' fading soul to be released and disintegrated. With the guidance of the Primus, the champion uses the language of the First Ones and the resistance that Anduin and the other past victims of domination have built up to reforge the remnants of the Helm of Domination into a new object of power, the Crown of Wills, granting the champion resistance to domination. The champion battles the jailer, who has ignited Azeroth's soul forge beneath Icecrown Citadel to enact his plan, and after a fierce battle, the jailer is finally defeated. As he dies, he recalls memories of his initial betrayal of the Eternal Ones, his flawed duty as the original Arbiter, and states that his plan to unify the cosmos was meant as a preventative measure against a future threat. With the jailer defeated, Pelagos, a Kyrian, or angel from Bastion, volunteers to become the new Arbiter and fill the vacancy left by the previous Arbiter after her demise, and he ascends into the form of an Eternal One, having been recognized as qualified for the role. Sylvanas is confronted over her past actions, starting with the War of the Thorns and ending with the jailer's rise to power, though Pelagos gives decision of the final verdict to Tyrande, who has been hunting her since the beginning of these events. Tyrande decides that Sylvanas' words of remorse, though genuine, are insufficient to compensate for what she did while her soul was held by the jailer. Tyrande therefore decides her punishment to be sending her into the Maw, in order for her to retrieve the lost souls that perished during the conflict she orchestrated, returning them to the Arbiter for proper judgment.